Good morning, all the students. Last class, we have discussed about what do you mean by salary and the features of salary. So, as you know, that salary includes it's an income which is given to an employee, which may be in the form of monetary or non-monetary, right? So, likewise, there are different forms of salary. Okay, we have salary which is basic salary, which we call it as a basic pay. Wages, that is also treated as salary. Remuneration, sometimes some of the employers will call it as remuneration, so that is also salary. Pay, that is also salary, right? So this is a basic word which is concerned with the salary, that's some that forms the important part of the salary: basic pay, basic salary, wages, or remuneration. Some of the employer will also give special pay. We have bonus along with the basic salary, right? So there are different types of bonus. In detail, when we deal with the bonus, at that time I'll tell you. Fee is also salary. Okay, commission is also salary. So some of the employer will give the commission to the marketing people, to the sales people, right? In addition to the salary, that is also salary. Advance salary, arrears of salary, or salary in arrears or arrears salary is also salary. Gratuity, which is given at the end of the retirement. So after an employee is retired, he is given gratuity, so that's also salary. Pension, so generally an employee will receive the pension after his retirement, maybe annuity form or maybe in the monthly form, right? So there are different forms of pension which we will see when I discuss in detail the pension part, but that is also salary. Leave salary, sometime an employee is given different types of leave, right? Casual leaves, for you might have heard about certain leaves like sick leave, right? Casual leave, earned leave. But for all the leave, salary is not given. There is something called as earned leave, EL. For earned leave, an employer will give salary if the employee do not avail that salary, so that is also part of salary. Okay, some of the employer will provide such benefit also. Then you have provident fund, PF. Generally it is provided to all the employees. So there are again different types of PF, right? PF for government employee, PF for private employee, right? PF for small business or small organization. I mean, the employees are working in the small organization, for them different PF is considered, so that is also salary, right? Then allowances, very important is allowances and perquisites. So allowances and perquisites are the important part of the salary. Okay, PF and these other are also part of salary, but PF, gratuity, retirement, these are retirement benefit. Allowance and perquisites are the regular part of salary. It forms the regular component of your monthly salary, please understand. It forms the regular component of the monthly salary. Okay, so these are the different forms of salary. Now advance salary is taxable on receipt basis. It is taxed in the assessment year relevant to the previous year in which the salary is received. Okay, so what is this? It is taxed on receipt basis. For example, the financial year, as I told you, ends on 31st March, 1st April to 31st March. So taking the present financial year, that is 2020-21, 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021 is your assessment year. And previous year for you, as you know, that 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2019, 31st March 2020 is the previous year, right? So let's say April, May, June, Okay, April, May, June 2020. 3 months salary I have taken advance in the month of March. In the month of March, I have taken the advance. I am telling you the salary of April, May, June 2020. 3 months salary I have taken the advance in the month of March 2020. It means that this is the 3 month salary of the present year, which is to be taxed in the next year. But if I have taken the advance in the previous year, it means that previous year 12 months plus 3 months advance salary of the present year, so total 15 months salary is to be added, and on that 15 months salary I have to pay tax in the current year. That is the reason it is told that advance salary is taxable on the receipt basis. So taking, let's say 30,000, so 30,000 into 15 months, 30,000 into 15 months, so that comes somewhere around 4,50,000, right? On so 4,50,000 total salary of previous year, I'll have to pay tax this year. Okay, means what? This year I'll be taking the salary of only 9 months. So next year when I pay the tax of present year, I'll be paying the tax only for 9 months. Okay, because already 3 months salary I have taken as an advance in the previous year. So advance salary is important from that point of view. Second is arrears of salary. So it is taxed on receipt basis. It is taxed on receipt basis provided it is not taxed earlier. So if it is, let's say sometime an employee or an employer do not provide the salary to an employee for certain reason. Let's say a company is not running well due to various situation or due to unavoidable circumstances, and for that company has not provided the salary of, let's say, January, February and March 2020. 3 months salary company has not provided. Supposingly that 3 months salary is provided in the month of April 2020. Okay, so that is called as arrears. That is called as arrears. Now if that arrears of salary of 3 months is not taxed in the previous year, I mean the year in which you pay the tax, then it will be taxed in the year when it is received. When it is received. So if it is, let's say, received in 2020-21, then it will be taxed in 2020-21 accordingly. That is why it is stated here that it is taxed on receipt basis provided it is not taxed earlier. Okay, so that is arrears of salary. Now students, very important, we will get into the details of allowances. Okay, we'll get into the details of allowances. From here on, your detailed part related to salary starts. From here on, your detailed part related to income from salary starts. So first part in that is allowances. So what is allowances? Allowance is fixed amount of money given along with the normal salary or basic salary in order to meet certain requirement or certain expenditure connected with the service or job of an employee. So these are the expenditure which are incurred by an employee, which are linked with the service or job of an employee, right? It is taxed on due or receipt basis. So either due or receipt basis, these allowances are taxed. Due or receipt in the sense, if it is, I mean, when it is due, if it is taxed, then when it is received, it will not be taxed, or if it is received it is taxed, then when it is due it will not be taxed. I mean to say that both the time it should not be taxed. Due and receipt, both the time it should not be taxed. It has to be taxed only once. If it is taxed both the times, what will happen? It is you mean that here you are paying tax 2 times on the same income. So you have to pay tax only once on the income, right? So again telling, allowances are the expenditure or the amount of money which is given by an employer to an employee to meet certain requirements. Allowances are classified into 3 types: fully taxable allowance, partly taxable allowance, partly exempted, and fully exempted. These are the 3 types of allowances which are classified as per income tax provision: fully taxable, partly exempted, and fully exempted. So let us see each in detail one by one. Right, fully taxable allowance we'll see now first. I have given you the notes, please refer that. The same I am referring also. Fully taxable allowance. So what do you mean by fully taxable allowance? These are the allowances which are fully taxable. So the word itself says that these are fully taxable. Okay, it means that you have to pay tax on entire amount which is given to you in the sense which is given to an employee by the employer. Okay, so it is considered for the purpose of calculating tax liability. Okay, so these are there are different types of fully taxable allowances. So there are around 17 fully taxable allowances. 17 fully taxable allowances. So first one, dearness allowance, DA. This is also called as dearness pay. It is also called as cost of living allowance. It is also called as interim relief allowance. So DA, dearness pay, cost of living allowance, interim relief allowance. So this is given to an employee generally to meet the expenditure related to their living in the sense the city where they are living. So generally it is given to all the employees, especially private, and if you talk about the government employee, all the government employee will get DA, right? Talk about private employee, some of the big companies are offering DA to the employees. Okay, so DA is generally given to meet out the dearness allowances related to the cost of living where the employee is living. So related to that it is given. Second is, so just to take back this in detail, the list also I have given you, please refer to that. So this allowance is given in order to meet out the present cost of living, isn't it? Present cost of living in the sense where you are, for example, let's say you are living in the Hubli. So the cost of living in Hubli is probably lower than the cost of living in Bangalore. So DA comparatively is different. Okay, so dearness allowance is included in salary while calculating the salary income. There are 2 types of dearness allowance: one which enters into service benefit, second which does not enter into service benefit, right? So there are 2 parts again: DA which is included in retirement benefit and DA which is not included in retirement benefit. So generally this is taken when we do the calculation for the government employee, because government employee has got the DA in the different form. DA in the different form in the sense DA which is entered into retirement benefit, DA which does not enter into retirement benefit, because this is important for, I mean, for them it is classified very well by the government, government, when they are paying salary to the government employee. Okay, dearness allowance which enters into service benefit is taken into account while calculating exemption for house rent allowance, recognized provident fund, and gratuity. So DA entering into service benefit will have the impact on the calculation part of HRA, recognized provident fund, and gratuity. So at the time of calculation this will be more clear, but I am telling you again that this is generally given, this bifurcation is done generally for the government employees, because let's say for government employee DA is given, let's say 100 rupees example. Out of 100 rupees, 70 rupees of DA will be considered for the retirement purpose, 30 rupees DA will not be considered for retirement purpose. I mean to say that 70 rupees will be taken into calculation when you compute the HRA, when you compute PF, and you can compute the retirement benefit, right? And 30 rupees will not be considered there. So for that the bifurcation is done for the government employee, but for general private employee this bifurcation is not done. General private employee, this bifurcation is not done. They are just given DA. I am again telling, DA for private employee is very limited. Okay, dearness pay should also should always be taken as one which enters into service benefit, right? So that's DA or dearness pay or cost of living allowance or interim relief allowance, whichever you can call it as. Second is CCA, you can call it as CCA. First is DA, second is CCA. CCA is city compensatory allowance or capital compensatory allowance. This is also again given in addition to the DA. Some generally private employee will also get this. Generally I am telling, some of the companies will offer this CCA part. So again this is given to differentiate the cost of living of metros and cost of living of the non-metro, right? So metros, if you are living, the cost will be very high. In the non-metros the standard of living is comparatively low, therefore the cost incurred, the expenditure incurred will be comparatively less. Therefore for such employee CCA will be less. For the employees who are working in metros like Bombay, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, for them CCA will be high. Telling you again, CCA will be generally given to all the employee, private and government, but DA is given only to the government employee. DA is generally given to only government employee. Private, only few companies are offering. Okay, third part or third allowance is project allowance. Third allowance is project allowance. So project allowance is generally when an employee is working on a project, right? For them the project allowance is given. Fixed medical allowance to meet out the expenditure related to the medical, right? For their family or for their own purpose, right? To support medical facility of the employee and their concern, the employer will give certain amount which is called as fixed medical allowance. Fifth one, tiffin allowance. So tiffin allowance is again related to the normal day-to-day activities. So sometime employees are given the tiffin allowance, so to meet out their expenditure related to the breakfast or tiffin, you can call it as. Servant allowance to meet out the expenditure related to the servant, okay, which are appointed by the employee for their house. For them certain allowance is given, certain salary is paid, so that is servant allowance. Non-practicing allowance, this is given to professionals. This is given to professionals like doctor, CA, right? So for example, let's say Mr. X is a doctor who is working in a particular hospital. The doctor is not practicing. The doctor is not practicing outside. He is just working in a hospital. Because he is not practicing, the doctor will be given non-practicing allowance by the hospital, right? So that amount is called as non-practicing allowance. Generally again it is given to the professionals. Wardenship allowance. So wardenship, sometime the employee will hire the wardens, right, for the purpose of their uh, house requirements, right, or sometime for the purpose of this related to the service, right? So certain amount is given by the employer, which is called as warden allowance. Deputation or substitute allowance. Sometime an employee will go for the deputation work, right, or substitute work to other place or some other workplace or some other area, for which he will be given deputation allowance. Overtime allowance. An employee work overtime apart from his regular work. The regular work is, let's say, 8 hours, he is working for 10 hours, then 2 hours is a overtime, for which he is given certain amount, which is called as overtime allowance. Marriage allowance, again the word itself is self-explanatory, you can understand. Family allowance, to meet out the cost related to the family or house, you can consider. Lunch allowance, so tiffin is given, lunch is also given, lunch allowance. Dinner allowance or refreshment allowance, it is self-explanatory, to meet out the cost of expenditure related to the dinner or refreshment. The amount is given by employer, which is called as dinner allowance, right? Special allowance, again this is the allowance which is given, which is given as special allowance, which can be used by an employee for his own benefit, for his own expenditure, personal expenditure, you can call it as. There are no any specific meaning for this. It can be considered as a personal expenditure also. Okay. Holiday trip allowance. So holiday trip is again based on the employee enjoyment purpose, right? For that purpose, to meet out the cost, the employer will give certain amount, which is called as holiday trip allowance. Petrol allowance, so you can call this as a, to meet out the day-to-day expenditure from office to house and house to office. So to meet out, generally this is given to the sales people or marketing people who are working in the marketing job or field job. So petrol allowance is given. Now what is important here is, all these 17 are taxable fully. All these 17 are taxable fully. What I mean to say is, if you are getting any of this component in your salary, then it should be taken as fully taxable. Into 12 you have to do it. When you calculate the income from salary, you have to straight away consider as a taxable income. There is no need to leave any of the component. Therefore, the entire amount is taxable. Okay. I hope this is clear. If you have any of the doubt, please keep a note of it. When we take, when I come back, when I again take the video, online class through Google Meet, at that time you can clarify it, or at the time of through messaging you can clarify it. But these are all the taxable allowance which I have told you, right? So this is a list which is given in the group, the notes also, which I have sent you. So totally 17 fully taxable allowances. How many? 17 fully taxable allowances, right? Hope this is clear. Second is partly taxable allowances. So before I commence this, just have a look at up to fully taxable allowance, then I will discuss about partly taxable allowance. Thank you.